Victoria stood by the window, the weak morning light filtering through the trees outside, yet her mind was as dark as a storm brewing on the horizon. She gazed outside, where gray clouds were gathering, mirroring her current mood. Just one day away, her family would come together to celebrate Matthew's wedding, her brother-in-law, but right now, everything felt like it was crumbling. She had just received a call from a lawyer named Rachel, someone she had never met. "Victoria, I'm very sorry to have to inform you of this, but your husband, Daniel, is having an affair with another woman," Rachel said, her tone serious yet tinged with sympathy. Those words hit Victoria like a powerful punch to the gut, leaving her breathless. It felt as if she had been thrown into an abyss, unsure of where to grasp for support. "That can't be true," Victoria mumbled, but even as the words escaped her lips, she knew she couldn't deny the reality. The evidence Rachel provided, photos and messages, remained etched in her mind like a nightmare with no end. She had once trusted Daniel, the husband to whom she had given her heart and soul. They had a 5-month-old daughter together, and now everything was collapsing before her eyes. Victoria turned back to the cozy space of their home, where she had once felt safe and happy. Now, it was nothing but an empty shell. She recalled the beautiful memories they had shared, the movie nights, the endless conversations, and the dreams of a future they had built together. But all of that was now just fragments of a shattered picture. She placed her hand on her stomach, where she could still feel the gentle kicks of her daughter. "What am I going to do now?" she wondered, tears threatening to spill. She didn't want her daughter to grow up in a broken family, but how could she continue living beside a man who had betrayed her trust? Her mind spun with a million questions, each one stabbing at her already broken heart. She had called Samantha, her sister, asking her to come over immediately. Victoria needed someone to share this pain with, someone who could help her find a way forward. "I can't face Daniel at the wedding," she thought, filled with rage. "I don't want to hear any excuses. Any empty promises." Victoria's gaze landed on a framed photo hanging on the wall, depicting a joyful family, her and Daniel smiling brightly alongside their daughter. How could everything change so quickly, she pondered, feeling as though she were living in a horror movie, where everything could turn into a nightmare in the blink of an eye. She sighed, a heavy sense of sadness and despair enveloping her. She didn't know what to do next, but one thing was certain, she couldn't continue living in lies. She had to uncover the truth, no matter how painful it might be. "Victoria, be strong," she told herself, even though the voice inside her whispered that nothing would ever be the same again. She turned back, looking toward the entrance, where Samantha would soon arrive. Just the thought of having to confront Daniel made her heart ache. Matthew's wedding was approaching, but for Victoria, it was no longer a joyful celebration. It had become a battle between self-respect and love, between betrayal and hope. She had no idea what awaited her in the future, but one thing was certain. She would not allow anyone, not even Daniel, to take control of her life. Victoria took a deep breath, trying to regain her composure. She knew this battle was just beginning, and she wouldn't let any betrayal define her life. She would uncover the truth and decide her future, no matter how painful it might be. And in that moment, a glimmer of light appeared in her darkened sky, like a promise that brightness would return, no matter how bleak the present might be. Victoria sat on the sofa, the dim light from the lamp creating a quiet but heavy atmosphere. She held her phone in her hand, staring at the picture of Daniel and their little daughter, feeling as if every piece of her life was fracturing. She knew she needed to take action, but fear and insecurity made it hard for her to decide. "I can't just sit here forever," Victoria whispered to herself. She decided to meet Rachel, the lawyer who had called her, to learn more about Daniel's situation. She needed to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. When Samantha arrived, Victoria felt a bit of comfort. Her sister had always been strong, someone she could rely on during tough times. "I've heard from Rachel," Samantha said, sitting down beside Victoria. "Do you want to talk about it? Do you think I should confront Daniel?" Victoria asked, her voice wavering. I don't know what I would say. Or even if I should say anything. You need to face him, Samantha advised, her gaze unwavering. If you don't, you'll never get the answers you need. Don't let him keep lying to you. Victoria nodded, but deep down, she was still filled with doubt. She didn't want to meet Daniel, didn't want to hear the excuses she knew would come. But the curiosity and the pain in her heart were stronger than any other feeling. Okay, I'll confront him, she decided, even though her heart was racing. That evening, Victoria stood in front of Daniel's house, feeling as if she were preparing to enter a battlefield. She took a deep breath, trying to regain her composure before pressing the doorbell. When the door opened, Daniel's eyes met hers, and a chill ran down her spine. Victoria, what are you doing here? He asked, surprise evident on his face. We need to talk, Victoria replied, her voice stronger than she felt inside. She stepped into the house, a place where they had once shared happy moments. Now, everything felt foreign and cold. What's going on? Daniel asked, trying to maintain his calm, but Victoria could sense the anxiety in his voice. I know about your affair, she said, each word hitting like a bullet. Rachel told me. Why did you do this? Daniel fell silent for a long moment, his expression shifting to one of panic. Victoria, I can explain, he stammered. It's not what you think. Not what I think. Victoria interjected, her voice rising like a storm. I have proof, Daniel. You can't deny it. I didn't mean to betray you, Daniel said, his voice growing weaker. I love you, Victoria. Love? If you loved me, why would you do this? She felt tears starting to spill, but she didn't want to show weakness. I can't trust your words anymore. You have to believe me, Daniel said, moving closer. Give me a chance to make things right. Victoria stepped back, her heart feeling like it was being torn apart. Make things right? How can you fix something that's already been destroyed? She felt anger and pain intertwining, making it unbearable. Time will heal everything, Daniel said, trying to hold his ground. We can start over. Start over? Victoria repeated, feeling as if she were in a farce. Do you think everything will just go back to normal because you want it to? I can't live in a relationship without trust. Daniel lowered his head, his face filled with disappointment. Victoria, I'm sorry. I was wrong. But you have to understand that I never wanted to hurt you. Enough. Victoria yelled, feeling like everything inside her was boiling over. I don't want to hear your empty apologies anymore. I need answers, not excuses. You can't just walk away like this, Daniel said, his voice becoming desperate. We have a child, Victoria. Think about that. My daughter will not grow up in a family where her father betrays her mother, Victoria replied, her voice firm. I won't let that happen. She turned away, feeling as if she had just escaped a trap. Although her heart was filled with pain, she knew she had done the right thing. This confrontation not only helped her face Daniel but also made her realize that she needed to stand up for herself and her daughter. As she left Daniel's house, Victoria felt as if she had just weathered a storm. She breathed in the fresh air, feeling a new strength rising within her. I won't let this defeat me, she told herself. I will find the truth and decide my future. On her way home, Victoria realized that she was not only fighting against Daniel but also against her own fears and uncertainties. She needed to uncover the truth about Daniel's relationship with that other woman, and she wouldn't stop until she got answers. This is just the beginning, she thought, feeling a fire igniting within her. I won't let anyone, not even Daniel, take control of my life. With that determination, Victoria stepped into a new journey. A journey to seek the truth and reclaim her power in her life. Victoria stood in front of the mirror, looking at her reflection. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but inside, a fire was igniting. She had decided to meet Rachel, the lawyer. To learn more about Daniel's relationship with the other woman. She needed to know the truth, not just for herself but for her daughter. As she arrived at the law office, Victoria felt a mix of excitement and dread. She had prepared herself for anything that might happen, but she couldn't shake the anxiety. Rachel invited her into a small conference room, the warm yellow light making the atmosphere feel even heavier. "Thank you for coming, Victoria," Rachel said, her tone serious. "I know this isn't an easy situation. I need to know everything." Victoria replied, feeling as if she were standing in the middle of a storm. "I can't live in this fog any longer." Rachel nodded and opened a file. "I've gathered some information about Daniel's relationship. Here are the messages I found on his phone." Victoria felt as if she were being thrown into a deep pit. She took the file, her heart racing. Each page felt like a knife stabbing her heart. The sweet messages exchanged between Daniel and the other woman, the promises that she once thought were only for her. She couldn't believe that the man she had loved could betray her in this way. "Who is she?" Victoria asked, her voice trembling. "Is she the one he's been seeing recently?" "Yes," Rachel replied. Her eyes filled with sympathy. "Her name is Lisa, and they've been involved for nearly a year." Victoria felt as if her world was collapsing. A year? Every happy moment she had shared with Daniel now seemed meaningless. "Why would he do this?" she asked, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Why not tell me?" "That's something I can't answer," Rachel said gently. "But I think he didn't want to hurt you more." "Not want to hurt me?" Victoria shouted, feeling the fire burning in her heart. "He has hurt me more than anything else could." She stood up, feeling like she couldn't sit still any longer. "I need to confront him," she said, determination rising within her. "I won't let him continue to deceive me." "Victoria, be careful," Rachel warned. "He may not react the way you hope. Sometimes, the truth can lead to unforeseen consequences." "I know," Victoria admitted, but her heart was set. "I won't live in lies any longer." When Victoria returned home, she felt like she was stepping into a battle. She needed to find Daniel and demand an explanation. As she walked into the house, her heart raced. Daniel was sitting on the sofa, a worried look crossing his face when he saw her. "Victoria, you're back," he asked, trying to maintain his composure. "We need to talk," Victoria said, her voice cold. "About Lisa?" Daniel's face paled. "Who told you?" he asked, his voice tense. "I met with Rachel," Victoria replied, each word cutting like a knife. "I know everything, Daniel. I know about your relationship with her." Daniel stood up, his expression turning anxious. "Victoria, please let me explain." "Explain what?" she interrupted, her anger boiling over. "Explain your excuses? You've been lying to me for a year, Daniel. Why would you do this?" "I don't know," Daniel said, his voice growing weak. "I was wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. I love you, Victoria, but..." "But what?" Victoria yelled, feeling everything around her shatter. "But you still kept lying to me?" "You don't understand," Daniel tried to explain. But Victoria didn't want to hear any more. She felt like she was standing on the edge of a deep pit, and any words from him were just echoes of deceit. "I don't want to hear your justifications," Victoria said, her voice firm. "I need to know if you truly love me or if this has all just been a game." Daniel fell silent, seemingly at a loss for words. "Victoria, I love you," he said. But his tone lacked conviction. "Love? If you loved me, why would you hurt me like this?" She felt tears welling up again, but she didn't want to show weakness. "I need a decision, Daniel. Do you want to keep this family together or not?" She looked straight into his eyes, feeling as if everything depended on this moment. "If you choose Lisa, I will leave. I won't live in a relationship full of lies." Daniel stood speechless, panic flashing in his eyes. Victoria, please don't do this, he said, his voice filled with desperation. Give me a chance to make things right. Enough. Victoria shouted, feeling like every emotion inside her was erupting. I've given you too many chances. Now it's time for me to think about myself and my daughter. You can't do this, Daniel pleaded, his voice becoming frantic. We can get through this together. No, Daniel. I can't continue living in deceit, Victoria replied, her voice resolute. I can't let my daughter grow up in a family where her father is dishonest. She felt her heart being torn apart. But she knew she had made the right decision. I will leave, she said, her voice echoing in the empty room. I won't let anyone, not even you, take control of my life. Victoria turned away, feeling as if she were leaving a part of her old life behind. But deep down, she knew she was beginning a new journey, a journey to seek freedom and happiness for herself and her daughter. As she stepped out the door, a sense of relief washed over her. No matter how uncertain the future might be, she knew she had chosen the path of truth and freedom. And that was what mattered most. Victoria stood there, in the stillness of the room, feeling as if everything around her had come to a halt. She could no longer hear the beating of her heart. All she felt was a vast emptiness slowly filling with pain and determination. Although she had decided to leave Daniel, her heart was still flooded with complex emotions. Daniel stood there, his eyes filled with tears, his face desperate. Victoria, please give me a chance. I will change. I will do everything to fix this, he said, his voice filled with fear and pleading. A chance? Victoria repeated, feeling as if each word was wrapping tightly around her. You've had too many chances already, Daniel. Every time you promised to change. Every time you said you would never hurt me again, you broke that promise. You can't just look at the mistakes, Daniel said, stepping closer, but Victoria took a step back, feeling as though the distance between them was not just a step but an entire chasm. Think of the beautiful memories we have. Remember what we built together. Beautiful memories? Victoria felt a wave of anger rise within her. Those memories are now just shards of deceit. I can't live in the past, Daniel. I need to look to the future. So what will you do? Daniel asked, his voice growing weaker. Will you leave without thinking about our daughter? That question hit Victoria like a punch to the gut. She looked into Daniel's eyes, where desperation and fear shone through. She knew that her daughter was the only reason she couldn't run away from this reality. But her daughter was also the reason she couldn't continue living in deceit. Our daughter deserves a happy family, not one filled with secrets and betrayal, Victoria said, her voice softening. But her resolve remained unchanged. I can't let her grow up in an environment like this. But if you leave, are you sure she'll be happier? Daniel asked, his eyes filled with doubt. Do you know that she needs both of us? Victoria felt her heart being torn apart. She didn't want to hurt her daughter, but she also couldn't accept a life of lies. I can't stay here and continue living like this, she whispered, her voice a gentle breeze laden with sorrow. Victoria, Daniel said, moving closer, his hands outstretched as if wanting to reach her, but she stepped back again. I love you. I'll do anything to fix this. Please give me one last chance. Love? Victoria laughed bitterly. If you loved me, why would you hurt me like this? Love cannot exist on a foundation of deceit. You can't decide everything based solely on the current pain, Daniel said, his voice becoming urgent. Let's find a way to rebuild together. But will that truly solve everything? Victoria asked, uncertainty rising within her. Can we really go back to how things were? That's what I want. Daniel said, his eyes filled with hope. I want us to start over. Victoria felt a surge of conflicting emotions. She had once dreamed of a perfect family, but now everything had shattered. She looked into Daniel's eyes, where remorse flickered, but also fear at facing reality. Maybe we can find a way to do this together, Daniel said, his voice softer now. We can go to counseling. We can find a way to mend this relationship. But is that really a solution? Victoria asked, feeling a sense of unease. Can we really return to what we once had? I want that too. Daniel insisted, his expression earnest. I want us to have a chance to rebuild. Victoria felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She understood that going back was not a simple decision. It was a struggle between love and betrayal, between hope and fear. I need time, she said, her voice lowering. I need time to think about everything that's happened. Time? Daniel echoed. His face filled with worry. You can't let everything continue like this. We need to act now. But I can't act when my heart is still in turmoil, Victoria replied, feeling as if everything was spinning around her. I can't decide our future right now. She turned away, feeling as if she were standing at a crossroads. One path was filled with pain but also freedom, the other was familiar yet deceitful. She didn't know which way to go. Victoria. Daniel called after her, his voice full of fear. Don't let everything end like this. She paused but didn't turn back. I won't let everything end, she said, her voice firm yet tinged with sadness. I just need time to find my own path. As she stepped out the door, it felt as if everything was unfolding before her. No matter how uncertain the future might be, she knew she had chosen the path of truth and freedom. But deep inside, one question lingered: would she have the strength to face what lay ahead? Victoria didn't know the answer, but she sensed that her journey was just beginning. She would have to confront the pain, the betrayal, and the complex emotions within herself. But one thing she knew for sure: she would not let anyone, not even Daniel, dictate her life. Victoria stepped out of the house, feeling as if she was leaving a part of her life behind. The door closed softly behind her, creating a sound that echoed in the stillness. A gentle breeze blew, carrying the chill of the evening, but inside her, there was a warmth of passion and determination. She had made her decision, and it was the first time she truly felt in control of her life. She walked along the familiar path, where memories of joy and sorrow with Daniel were still vivid in her mind. The afternoons spent watching sunsets together. The deep conversations about the future, all of it was now just fragments of the past. But Victoria understood that the past could not define her future. She needed to learn how to forgive. Not just Daniel, but also herself. Forgiveness, she murmured, feeling it gradually seep into every cell of her being. It's not an easy thing, but perhaps it's essential for me to move forward. When she arrived at the park near her home, where she often took her daughter to play, Victoria sat down on a bench. She closed her eyes, letting her thoughts flood back. She recalled the happy moments with her daughter, the innocent laughter, and the tears she shed when she discovered the betrayal. Each memory carried its own lesson. My daughter, Victoria whispered. I want you to grow up in a world filled with love and sincerity. I can't let you see me living in deceit. I have to set an example for you. She opened her eyes and looked into the distance, where the gray clouds were beginning to disperse. The sunlight started to break through, bringing a warm feeling of hope. I will not let this pain bring me down, she resolved. I will use it as a springboard to rise above. Victoria stood up, feeling the strength within her. She didn't just want to forgive Daniel. She wanted to forgive herself for allowing herself to fall into this situation. She had loved, she had trusted, and that was not a fault. Love is a journey, she thought. Sometimes it leads us to places we never wanted to go, but it's those experiences that help us grow. She decided she would meet Daniel one more time, not to argue or blame, but to talk about what had happened. She wanted him to understand that forgiveness was not easy, but it was an essential part of love and maturity. She wanted him to know that, even if their relationship might never be the same, she still respected the beautiful memories they had shared. As Victoria returned home, she felt a sense of peace washing over her. She was prepared for this meeting, not just with Daniel but with herself. She knew that there would be no magic fix to mend everything immediately. But she also understood that each step forward was a step toward healing. When she walked into the house, Daniel was sitting on the sofa, his expression still filled with worry. Upon seeing Victoria, he stood up, his eyes shining with hope but also fear. "Victoria," he said, his voice trembling. "You're back." "Yes," she replied, feeling as though she was standing at a crucial crossroads. "I've thought a lot about what happened. I don't want to live in the past anymore. I want us to talk honestly." Daniel nodded, looking a bit surprised but also eager. "I'm ready. I'm sorry for what happened. I didn't realize how much I hurt you." Victoria took a deep breath, sensing the tension in the air. "I know. But I've also learned that to move forward, we need to forgive. Not just each other but ourselves as well." "Forgive," Daniel repeated, as if the word was echoing in his mind. "Can you really forgive me?" "That's what I'm trying to do," she said, her voice gentle yet firm. "I can't change what happened, but I can decide how I will live from here on. I want our daughter to grow up in an environment filled with love, not resentment." Daniel looked at her, his eyes filled with emotion. "I understand. I will do everything to prove that I deserve your forgiveness." Victoria smiled softly, feeling as if a weight had been lifted. "We can start from here, step by step. But we both need to be honest with each other and with ourselves." "I agree," Daniel said, his voice stronger now. "I won't let you down again." She nodded, feeling a flicker of hope in her heart. "We will do this together. But remember, love is not just about promises, it's about actions and sincerity." As they sat together, Victoria sensed a change in the atmosphere. Although the road ahead would still be challenging, she knew that they were both ready to face it. They would not only rebuild their relationship but also learn how to love and forgive, not just each other but themselves as well. "Life is a journey," Victoria said, her eyes shining. "And I believe that with love and forgiveness, we can overcome any obstacle." As the sunset began to paint the sky, Victoria felt that she had found light in the darkness. No matter how uncertain the future might be, she knew she had chosen the path of growth and love. And deep down, she understood that forgiveness is not just a gift for others. It's a gift for oneself.